So I've been playing basketball all my life, and I also run track for the Belmont High School team. Um, this year, I did hurdles, high jump, and javelin. I want to start out by talking about the big topic of what I'm focusing on tonight, which is perseverance and adaptation to our struggles and trials. So about a year ago, in January or February, I was at a basketball practice, and I went up for a rebound with a friend, another friend who's about 6'2", which is a little bit taller than me. He comes down and his elbow hits me in the temple. And 2 days later, I'm diagnosed with a concussion. I do need to remind you all that I did get the rebound, which is a very important part. So for most of you who aren't familiar with concussion protocol, you sit in a dark room for a while. No lights, no sound, no phone, no reading. You kind of just sit in a dark room and do nothing for a really long time. And I did that for about a month or two. Coming out of that, I went to school for about an hour or two a day, as long as I could, due to headaches and concussion symptoms, pretty much, which is headaches, kind of feeling foggy and out of it. So I would go to school every day for an hour or two, as much as I could. Each day go into a different class or different two classes. And I think, and through that whole time, I couldn't exercise like I normally would. I was playing basketball for about 2 hours a day during practice. And then once I got my concussion, I couldn't exercise at all. And eventually, the doctor that I was working with told me, you should start walking, try to start exercising, do a little bare minimum, do the most you can, and keep doing it every day to get better and better. So I started doing that in February, March, when there was still snow on the ground, pretty cold. It wasn't the most pleasant or enjoyable thing, but I think that every day I saw progress because of that. It did end up lasting about 6.5 to 8 months, which is substantial amount of my time, which is about an eighth of high school, if you look at it, which is a lot of time in comparison. So during that time, I had to adapt to what I did with school, right? So I had to start going to school at different times, going for shorter amount of times, and actually changing the way I would do normal things and exercise. And every day I would have to do these small bare minimum things. Like sometimes I would start to read a little bit more than I used to be able to because of the headaches. And so I think overall, during that whole time period, I learned that I need to listen and to adapt to what my body is telling me and persevere and just push forward every day, even when it's really hard and when a pandemic suddenly comes over you and you can't really see friends, even with a concussion. So next, like I mentioned earlier, I run hurdles. So about 3 weeks ago, yesterday, I was at a race in Reading. And for those of you who don't know, Reading's hurdles are extremely weighted, and they have a 90 degree. So they come down, and they're pretty much a 90 degree right here. So the hurdle is right there. And as you come over, you go with a lead leg and a trail leg. On the last hurdle, my trail leg came over and nicked or caught on the hurdle itself, and I ended up falling face first into the track. And I don't know how to describe it. It was almost like a very aggressive worm type dance move and into a somersault. And then I got up, I kind of rolled, got up, finished the race, and I was holding my elbow like, oh, this kind of hurts. And after that, I went to the ER later that night with my mom, and lo and behold, I fractured my radial head. So the radial head so your forearm has two bones, the ulna and the radius. And the radial head is basically where the top bone of your forearm connects into your elbow. So I fractured that, and for about a week to 2 weeks, I couldn't use my right arm at all. So I had to learn how to dress myself lefty and basically do all the normal necessary things I would have to do lefty every day, from pretty much opening a water bottle, which I found is very hard to do one-handed, and opening a backpack, opening a laptop. And so through that time, I learned that as there's hard things with breaking my elbow, and I had to change the way I attacked my everyday problems or everyday activities. One of the most memorable, or probably will be the most long-lasting, is something that I did with basketball. So I personally I do everything righty, and I love to shoot a basketball. So, and that was one thing that helps me clear my mind when I'm thinking about stuff. So I would go outside and shoot, but I can't shoot righty anymore because of my elbow. So I went out and I started to shoot lefty, and I taught myself how to shoot with a different hand. And I adapted to the situation that I was put in. And every day I started doing these little things and pushed forward. Per my dad's advice, I would ice for about an hour and a half every day. And doing these small things, and per the doctor, starting to stretch my elbow. Even though it was very uncomfortable and unpleasant for most of the time, I started doing these little things every day and progressing every day and persevering through all these little unfortunate mishaps and parts of my life. And I was learning that you can still keep doing things no matter how hard or whatever situation we're put in. So I want to close with the main thing that I've learned from these two experiences in the past year or so of my life. Humans are capable of a lot of amazing things. And if we persevere and adapt through our trials and struggles like I did, and like most of you have in this past year with coronavirus, we can complete amazing things, and we can't be stopped. Thank you.